My earliest memory is being sexually abused by the grandfather. Actually, I hate that I have to call it abuse. I was raped. I was 4. I think people like it better when you call it abuse because the word abuse seems softer and easier for people to digest than the word rape, but I don't think that anyone can fully understand the impact that it's had on my life unless they hear the word rape, and I was raped. Obviously, it was very traumatic. I have grown up and have lived an amazing life despite what has happened to me. I am truly resilient. I went to college. I built a career. On the outside, I am a shining, happy success. However, on the inside I have struggled with binge eating disorder, trusting other people, and have PTSD that rears its ugly head from time to time. For years I have struggled with insomnia and panic attacks. I've gone to multiple therapists, tried yoga, meditation, and prayer, and have finally come to accept that maybe this is something that I will just have to endure forever. A life sentence for a crime that I didn't commit, but instead was committed upon me. But here I am, still fighting and trying to shine. I love my life, despite all of the pain and complications. I have fought so hard to be where I am at. I try to take things one day at a time. 10 years ago, after a bad breakup, I became friends with Carmen. She is 18 years older than me, and was honestly a breath of fresh air. In a moment of intense vulnerability, I told her about what had happened to me as a child, and she seemed like she totally understood. She prayed with me, and I felt like a heaviness had been lifted. For the last 10 years, we have been there for each other through family death and heartbreak. I honestly thought that we would be friends until one of us died. As the years have progressed, Carmen has become increasingly religious. I am very spiritual, but I am not a fan of churches as a rule. I have always been mistrustful of men in power, and since most churches in our area are run by men, I have chosen to worship privately. Carmen, however, has been very involved in different churches. The truth is, she's just a lot more social than I am. She always has been. In many respects, I admire that, but I also find socializing to be exhausting. On multiple occasions she's wanted me to join her, but I have politely tuned her down. We are very different people, but we've always made our friendship work. Until this last year, with the 2024 election, Carmen became increasingly more political. Granted, she knows nothing about politics, but every conversation became, look at what the liberals are doing this, or Donald Trump is going to save this country, that. Personally, I can't stand Donald Trump. I've despised him since the moment audio recording were released of him saying you needed to grab a woman by the PSSY. But I've always respected that people are allowed to have different opinions. When he got elected in 2016, I was horrified, but I believed in the checks and balances in our country. Obviously, I felt relieved when Joe Biden won in 2020, but again, I have always believed in the checks and balances of our country. This year, things have been different. As a rape survivor, I have struggled as right-wing politicians and podcasters have increasingly adopted more and more misogynistic attitudes towards women. I have feared for other rape survivors like myself, who are having their access to abortion and birth control restricted. On the night that Donald Trump was elected, I woke up panicked at 3 a.m., feeling as though I was being hunted and preyed upon all over again. I opened my laptop to see my friend Carmen celebrating his victory on Facebook. Look what God has done. Praise Jesus. An answer to my prayers. In the comments, a friend had posted, what about his rape victim? Her reply, she's a liar. It felt like a punch to the chest. I have ghosted her. I have not spoken one word to her since that night that I woke up and saw her celebrations. Something inside me has snapped, and I no longer feel like I can ever speak to her again. She doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel like the woman who sat with me as I poured my heart out over what had happened to me as a child. She feels like a stranger. On multiple occasions she has phoned or texted me, but I can never think of anything to say. The truth is, I don't trust her, and I don't believe that there is anything that can be said to fix our relationship from this point moving forward. She continues to text and call begging to know what happened, but every time I think to respond, I have nothing left to say. I am simply done. Am I the asshole?